Hello there, and welcome to another episode of my survival world, and today we're starting off over by the Blaze farm because I actually need to make a building for this. Currently it's just a random thing sitting up in the sky and there's no real design to it, it's just there, and I want to put something around it, and I have an idea of how to do that. However, it's going to be a little bit too big for the space, which means I need to extend the roof up, and to be honest, I'm probably going to have to be removing some bedrock here. So I'm going to jump over into a test world, see how much space I'm going to need, and then we'll see if I need to remove some of this bedrock. Well, I started off trying to clear it with this kind of lag method, and you can see I have successfully cleared quite a few blocks here. But when I say quite a few, I mean you can see the area I need to clear out with these stone blocks that are marked, and that is just not enough. This took me an hour, by the way. It took me an hour to do this with the lag method. And I did have more redstone. I started breaking it because I decided I'm going to try something. Yeah, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this machine. And I'm just trying to work out if I need to extend it. Is it just a case of putting the pistons out to wherever I want it to go, I guess? Let's build it and let's see what happens. You know, if this doesn't work, I'm going to be honest. If this doesn't work, then I've got nothing else left. I am going to have to use the commands because there's no way that I have enough space for what is going on down below. So yeah, I really need to clear this area. Well, after looking over the schematic and doing some calculations, I kind of realized that I would need to craft 9,400 pistons per layer. So that would be 5 layers, which would be over 45,000 pistons. For one, I do not have enough iron for that. There's no way. I mean, when I have a bigger farm, yeah, sure, I'll have enough, but right now I don't. So I decided to just start carrying on doing it the lag method, and you can see I've made quite a large amount of progress. I mean, these stone blocks are where I need to go to, and to be fair, this has only been about maybe 4 hours of work. Also, this first line here has taken quite a bit more time. Like this first section, I was getting used to it and getting used to the timings, and now you can see this last bit here is like, you know, 20-30 minutes worth of work because I'm doing 32 in a row. So I'll show you exactly what I'm doing right now. So we just go along, we place down a line of pistons, and I'm going to go 32 across. And then once we have all of the pistons, we go and place all of the stone blocks in on top. And then after the stone blocks, we place in the redstone blocks on top. Then we place one block on the side to start all the pistons. And then we remove the redstone blocks from the top. Once we have removed all of the redstone blocks, we then go over to the lag generator over here, pull out my pickaxe, because if I don't, then the beacon doesn't work properly, and I press F7, that activates my fast clicker on the Tweakeroo mod, and then I just hold it down for a couple of seconds. Try not to go too long. If I do it for too long, then all of the blocks don't break properly, so you have to just try and time it like just right. And then I go along this line, sprinting along and breaking all of these, and then I crouch and I just go along and place the pistons facing down like this. So I've got the method down pretty quick and the fastest way to kind of move through everything. Once it's done, take my pickaxe back out, sit here, and I wait until that stops. And hopefully, it doesn't work every single time. Sometimes I get like 30 and there's a couple left at the end, or sometimes I get ghost blocks, but most of the times, there you go, some didn't work, unfortunately. Hopefully I did get ghost blocks this time. Brilliant. Right, we'll just reset that quickly. I don't know if where I'm recording, that's kind of affecting the computer, so it's making this not work properly, but generally it works most of the attempts. Alright, let's see, did this one work this time? I think maybe I also left it a little bit too long. You want the timing to be as close to when you finish as possible, like that. And there we go. So now that's 32 blocks cleared out, and then we just go along and collect all of the pistons and do it again and again and again, and eventually this whole area will be cleared. I'm going to try and finish the first layer because that is the most. Obviously you can see on the bottom, like the lower layers, there's less bedrock, and as you go down the layers there's less and less. And I'll see how bad the first layer is in terms of time, and then decide if I want to actually continue doing this or if I want to use the command. Well, that is one layer finished, so now it should start to get a bit easier because we have the netherrack in there. The only thing is now I'm just getting a lot of mobs spawning around, and there's no point in lighting it up because I'm just going to be breaking it as I go round. But It's not been too bad, to be honest, with thorns. They pretty much just die by themselves when they hit me. So yeah, that's taken me about 12 to 15 hours. I lost count, to be quite honest, just to get this one layer done. So hopefully the next layers will be a bit quicker. But now I'm going to go around and remove all of the netherrack on this level. I have done a very, very large amount of this. I mean, I've worked it out to be at least around 13,000 blocks of bedrock removed, maybe even 14,000. But to be honest, this is taking so long. I've spent hours and hours and hours doing this. And if I don't move on, I'm just not going to have a video to do. And to be honest, if I was like a full-time YouTuber, maybe I would have the time to go through and do all of this properly. But I think I've done enough now to the point where I am going to go ahead and use the command. I mean, you can tell from the layer below that it does actually get a lot easier than the layer above. And so from there, it would get a lot easier going down. It's just, I'm only about halfway through and I've been working for over a week on this. So I think now it is time to kill this skeleton that's about to be in my view. And I'm going to just use the command here and get this finished so we can actually move on to the building project, because realistically I'm spending all of this time on not really a lot of work. Alright, 15,000 blocks were removed. That means I actually did about 14,000, so that's good enough for me. I'm happy with that. I mean, pretty much half, and that is a significant number of blocks. But now I need to go through and remove all of these blocks, and I will do those properly because it's not going to take me anywhere near as long to clear out the rest of this area going down into the lava. Well, that is everything now cleared up. The whole thing is emptied out, and I know it looks a bit weird at the moment, but it's all part of the process, because now I have a bunch of resources to build up this next part, which includes a lot of deep slate blocks, and there's about 8 shulker boxes worth of deep slate. So I did actually end up going and doing a bit more mining, which I didn't really want to do, but to be honest, I needed it anyway, so why not? And I also ended up getting a bunch more diamonds from that. So now, let's see how many diamonds I have in total. So now I have nearly 3 stacks of diamond blocks, which is quite nice. It's always good for the armor stands. But yeah, so now we need to actually build this. And you might be wondering, what am I going to build taking up this large area? Well, to begin with, there's going to be nothing for the walls. I'm just going to do the main part of the build, which covers up the Blaze Farm. And it is going to be Darth Vader's fortress on Mustafar. Well, that is Vader's fortress now fully built up with some small little changes that I might need to make. And you can see it is a bit of a difficult one because there are mobs spawning. Now, obviously at the end of the day when I come here I am just going to be flying down into this area here. So at the end of the day I can just deal with the ones on the door. I don't think any of the other ones can reach me through this area. It's all kind of just about blocked up enough, and then we just come in here and we can just use the carpet that I have set up for the little warp down into the killing chamber and into the item collection area. Why is there a lava? Huh. Well, at least it's not affecting the farms, so that's completely fine. So the other bits that I would like to look at doing in this area is going to be around the lava lakes here. I kind of want to add some magma blocks in on the sides. Now, I will say that there's going to be a kind of wall sticking off a few blocks into this. I only built this all the way out to the side in order to kind of blend it into the wall that I'm going to build. So I wouldn't worry too much about this bit being elevated. But I'm thinking to add some magma blocks around here just to blend it in a little bit better with the lava and make it look like the lava is coming up. As well as the beacon. Unfortunately, because of where I put the beacon, it's on the front of it. However, I'm thinking that if I just move the beacon to the other spot, which is this one here, instead of the one under here, then it should be fine, because this should then come up through the back, and actually, yeah, it'll be hidden pretty much in the same line behind. But now you can see why I needed so much space to build this, because even though I could have gone a bit higher, it did start to look a little bit strange, and I think it does look a little bit too fat around this area, but I think it does the job. So now I am going to go grab some magma blocks, we will sort that out, and I'll move the beacon, and then we can move on to the next part of this episode. I think we will leave the walls for today because they're going to take up a lot of resources, just the same as building this took up quite a lot. There was like 8 shulker boxes of deep slate used, which isn't a particularly easy block to get, and the walls are probably going to use a lot of glass, I think, so we'll see how that goes. But I think I'll save it for next episode, and we will get this fully finished up, as well as maybe some rocks down in the lava lake at the bottom. So I'm just kind of chucking some magma blocks in and around this just to see how that looks. To be honest, I don't think it looks that great, but that's just with the shaders. I also just realised I didn't show this with the shaders before because I didn't use the shaders on the time lapse. Because obviously in the last episode I did break down this and make the blaze farm, and it's a bit difficult to see what's going on, although I do think that for the actual build this looks way better, and especially with like the shadows that I did on the side, you can see these parts are quite dark. That's actually because I did use a different block for that. I used the tiles instead of the polished block. It was a bit difficult trying to get the shadows on the whole build, but I think from this side it looks really cool. Like the shadows really do pop on there. Unfortunately from this side it's still a little bit plain. It's got a little bit of shadow on there from the shaders, but if I turn those off you can probably see a little bit better how that works. And yeah, but I think with the shaders on this looks really cool, and I can't wait to actually get the walls done for this. I think it's going to look really good when it's all finished. Well, I do think the magma blocks do a better job at blending in without the shaders. I think they just stand out a bit too much with the shaders on, but I think I'll deal with it. It will do the job for me. Alright, I think that will be enough magma for now, just to line the edges with. I definitely think it helps to blend a little bit, but again I'm not sure about it on the shaders. Without the shaders, I think it blends in nicely and it does the job that I was expecting it to do. But yeah, that will do it for the blaze farm for this episode. Now let's head back over to the Tatooine Island, where we can take a look back at the cantina and getting that finished up today. Well, now the question is, what is left to do for the cantina? And that will be a couple of bits outside actually. We need to have some sort of animal in here in this little pen type thing. There's a couple of little mechanisms or dispensers sitting out the front as well. And then of course the most important part will be inside. We need to set up a lot of these armor stands. Of course we're going to have Han Solo and Greedo having a little shoot off. We're going to have Obi-Wan slicing off someone's arm somewhere around here, and Luke at the bar. You know, we'll see what we can do. And of course we need to set up the band here as well. So another band straight after Jabba's palace. So for now, I think let's get started with these animals. I'm just going to have to make a little design, and then we'll work on a few bits outside here and maybe try and tidy up this sand as well. I'm just going to go through and fill in the floor around here with sand, just so this is all on the same level. I think that would be better to do. And now the cantina is finally finished up. And yes, I know, this animal looks a little bit questionable out here. I think they're called a dewback. It's just like a ride animal. But I think it actually gets the image across fairly well. And I think, yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I think it looks quite cool. It's a little bit weird in some places, and the block palette is a bit odd. But it's a green animal, and there's just no green stairs or slabs. So this is what I ended up going with. We got some little feathers there for teeth, and you know, some bamboo underneath for the belly colour and stuff like that. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how that came out, because it was quite a difficult one to do, especially at this scale. Sure, if I went bigger, it could have looked a lot better. Now, of course, we've got a couple of stormtroopers about to walk into the bar. I quite like how the orange carpet looks on his shoulder. I think it really does the job and gets the point across. Don't even ask me about this. I don't know. I mean, if you look up images online, there's this like pod outside. I have no idea how else I was going to do this. This is just with invisible item frames. It will do the job. It just shows there's something out there. And of course, once we start getting stuff around the town, then it will start to look a bit more complete. So I did also fill out the sand all over this area, and to be honest, it looks a little bit weird because of course there's only one building at the moment. But as we build more of these, it will start to look more complete, and we'll have more stuff kind of laid around in the middle as well. So that will help complete the look a lot more. And I also just left this. I didn't bother filling this up with sand in here because, well, this is going to be dug down, and it's going to be one of the little in the floor landing bays. So now let's take a look inside of the bar in the cantina, and straight away you can see we've got Obi-Wan about to chop off this guy's arm. I can't remember his name now, and his friend in the back as well. And you can see how they actually have the right faces. We have Chewie there about to speak to them, and Luke just looking a bit confused. But this is where it starts getting interesting. We have the band here, and you can see I've done their instruments. I did go a little bit easier on these compared to the ones in Jabba's palace. Let's not forget that the palace is just over there, so essentially all of these armor stands are in the same area. And I kept this one nice and simple for these. And then this guy, he's got quite a few things going on. He's got like a, what would you call it? It's kind of like a bagpipesy saxophone type thing. And then you'll notice for these characters around the bar, I actually came up with a bit of a different idea, because I realised that, you know, not all of these random characters that are in the background have skins, and what better way to show like the diversity in the cantina other than just having random mob heads. I thought it was really cool, and some of them do really quite suit the look. Like for example, the wolf with the red eyes, the angry wolf, that works really well because there's actually a wolf with red eyes in the bar. And then as you go around, you'll see I just have a bunch of, this is actually a character, but a bunch of mob heads around here as well. And yeah, I think it just really gives that impression of like the mixture of the different species, and I really like how that worked out. But of course this scene could not be missed. We've got Han Solo, he is shooting first, and we have Greedo here about to die, and then we just have a witch and a silverfish here. Of course we also have Wuha, however you pronounce it, the guy behind the bar, and he's got a little cup in his hand with a little white dye acting as a cloth. But overall, I'm actually really happy with how all this came out, and I still have easy access to all of the chests. Nothing gets in the way, and nothing is a problem here. So that is the cantina now finished, and I was looking forward to doing this one. I'm really happy with how everything worked, and especially the brewer actually is really nice to have in there. But that means now it's time to move on to the next buildings around this area. Of course, also for Darth Vader's fortress, we are going to finish up with the walls and stuff, but we'll do that next episode. For now, looking at all of this, I need some resources. I think it's time to go on another mining mission, and I kind of ran out of copper when doing this guy as well, so I'm going to grab a few items and we'll come back and see what I can do for the end of this episode. Well, a bit of mining later, and I got a bunch of resources, including the 68 ancient debris you see here, and it's not a lot, it's only 17 ingots, but it's better than the 0 that I currently have. After I forgot to mention, I ended up using 4 netherite ingots just for these 2 stormtroopers. Now, don't get me wrong, I will not be doing that very often, especially when it comes to making like a big hangar and it's full of like an army of stormtroopers. There's no way I'm going to be using netherite ingots on all of them. But for these ones, I thought it would just give a little bit of detail, and it definitely shows that like if I had access to that many, that it would just look really good. It does suit the armor. It's just very expensive to do, unfortunately. Another thing that happened was, for the first time since building it all the way over in that little cave down there inside of the pillar, which was so many episodes ago, I actually ran out of my box of golden carrots, so I had to go and make a bunch more. It was easier just to use the gold for now. I could also trade for it in the villager trading hall there, but I think that this was the easiest way to do it for now. I am thinking to go AFK at my gold farm though to get a bit more. And obviously you also saw in there, I now have a full box of waxed copper blocks, a full box of oxidized copper, and a bunch of little other random variations of that, as well as I have 10 shulkers of sandstone now, ready to build up this Mos Eisley. However, I did say that I won't be doing any more of Vader's castle today, and that was a lie, because there's something that needs to be done which I completely forgot to do, and it's a small thing, and I think we'll just quickly get that done now, because obviously, what else are you going to find at Vader's fortress? What are you going to find there other than a missing head? Damn. I'm going to need to blow myself up again. I don't have any Vader heads. Oh, wait, no, that is... Oh, okay, that's Vader, right? Yes, yeah, that's it. Oh, cool. I was worried there. And there we go. One Darth Vader. No, of course, I'm joking. I'm completely joking. Do you really think that that was all I was going to do? Absolutely not. We are going all in on this Darth Vader. And to be quite honest, I'm not even happy with the chestplate. I think I would be better off just having a blank chestplate, which is a bit annoying because I've done it now, and that was 7 diamonds spent. But yeah, let's see what we can do about this. Well, I did actually finish this up, but to be honest, I'm having a bit of an issue in that the armor stands just keep moving by themselves, and I've not faced it on this kind of scale, like this bad. I just don't seem to do anything, and then they'll just randomly pop and change position. Obviously, if I'm moving something around, I would expect that, you know, it might push it. See that? I didn't actually press anything, and it just popped by itself. Now the issue is because I've done it at an angle, I should have just... Oh, why did I do it this way? I should have done it so he's straight on and then just had his head turned. But for some reason I decided to do this angle, and I'm just wondering if it's worth me going through and just rotating everything to be like this. I'm kind of hoping this is going to work. Oh, it's not going to work. I'm going to have to move everything. Oh, that is a nightmare. Because when I have the numbers like straight on 90-degree angles, they don't push each other around as much, which would be very useful right now. Alright, you know what? I'll leave it nudged back slightly, and then we'll see how it goes. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I did want to put more. I was going to put some little green lights on his belt as well. But unfortunately, because it's all getting pushed around, I think it's best that I stop here. Obviously, you know, we have his cape on the back. I just went with one carpet, which has now turned out to be a better idea, because if I'd had lots, this could have been an even bigger issue. But that is it. We now have Vader sitting outside of the fortress, so he can greet you when you come in. And I will say that nothing has changed since I nudged him back a little bit, so I think that has worked out better that way. Well, I hope you guys like that Vader. I would like to do more with it, but as I say, the armor stands are being a little bit troubling, so I think we're going to have to leave it at that. A, there's a blaze right there, and B, how good does that Vader look from a distance? Like, you take a little step back and suddenly he just looks really, really convincing. Yeah, look at that, that's so cool. Oh, I'm so happy with that. But we'll leave that there for this episode, and next episode we'll come back and we'll start putting in the walls to kind of box this in and just separate it from the nether so that it's its own little build. But that is all for today's episode. That is one fortress done, one Vader done, and a bunch of armor stands as well as some resource gathering. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you're looking forward to the next one when we can complete this build. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. I have spoken.